Captain Ryland's ship drifted silently through the asteroid belt, the metal hull groaning under the strain of a recent skirmish. Sparks flew from the damaged panels, and the faint hum of failing engines reminded him that he was barely holding together. His eyes scanned the endless stretch of jagged rocks, looking for any sign of a habitable station or friendly ship. But space was vast, and help was scarce. Ryland's comms were dead, his navigation systems flickered, and the life support monitors displayed a slowly dropping oxygen level. Time was running out. He gritted his teeth, gripping the console, wishing he had avoided that ambush with the raiders. They had come out of nowhere, sleek black fighters that had toyed with his ship before ripping a hole in the engine. He had managed to escape, but only barely. Now he was stranded, alone, and running out of options. Each heartbeat echoed in the cabin, loud against the silence of space. Then, just as hope began to fade, a shape appeared against the dark void. A ship unlike any Ryland had ever seen glided toward him. It was sleek, organic in design, and shimmered with a faint teal light that pulsed like a heartbeat. His gut told him to be cautious, but he had little choice. He activated the distress beacon, praying someone, anyone, would respond. The alien ship slowed and hovered, as if studying him. A voice cut through the comm system, clear and melodic, yet alien. "Captain Ryland," it said. Ryland froze, startled that the voice knew his name. "I can repair your ship," the voice continued, "but I ask for something in return." The words made him wary. Humans had a long history of deals that went wrong, and space had taught him caution. Still, his ship was failing, and the alien ship seemed advanced enough to fix the damage in moments. Ryland swallowed his doubt and replied, "What do you want in return?" There was a pause, and then the voice spoke again. "In time you will understand. For now, trust me enough to dock." Ryland hesitated but nodded. He aligned his ship with the alien craft, using the last reserves of fuel to bring his ship closer. Magnetic clamps extended from the alien ship, connecting to his own, and with a soft hum, the docking sequence began. The airlock hissed, and the interior of the alien ship glowed with soft teal lights. It smelled faintly of ozone and something else, sweet and sharp at the same time. A figure appeared in the doorway. She was humanoid, but not human. Her skin was pale with an almost metallic sheen, and her eyes glowed with the same teal light as her ship. Intricate patterns ran across her arms and shoulders, like tattoos that moved subtly, shifting with the light. Her hair floated slightly, as if weightless. Ryland felt a mix of awe and unease. "I am Kalara," she said, her voice calm but confident. "Your ship is in bad condition, but I can fix it. My people have technology you would call magic." Ryland blinked. "Magic?" he asked, half in disbelief. Kalara smiled faintly. "You call it magic because your mind cannot yet understand it, but I assure you it is science. Energy flows, fields adjust, matter is realigned. It is simple for me." He nodded, too tired and desperate to argue. "Then please fix it?" Ilara's hands moved over a floating console, gestures that caused panels to shift and energy streams to glow. Sparks and flickers danced over his ship's damaged hull, and Ryland watched in fascination. Where he saw wires and metal, Ilara saw patterns and connections, rearranging them effortlessly. Within minutes, or was it seconds? The hull sealed, the engines hummed steadily, and the life support systems returned to normal. The flickering monitors stabilized, and the oxygen levels slowly climbed back to safe levels. Ryland exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. Kalara tilted her head, studying him. "Do not thank me yet. There is a price, as I said."
"What kind of price?"
"I need you to do something for me. Something only a human can do." Ryland's brow furrowed. Humans were known for bravery, ingenuity, and occasionally recklessness. But what could Kalara want from him that she couldn't do herself? "What is it?" he asked cautiously. She shook her head. "Not yet. First, you must trust that I do not wish to harm you. We travel together, and when the time comes, you will understand." He didn't like mysteries, but he had no choice. He nodded. "All right, I trust you, for now." Kalara's eyes seemed to glow brighter for a moment, as if approving his decision. "Good. You will need that trust." He followed her instructions to pilot his ship inside the alien vessel, a section designed to interface with his own systems. The interior was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were smooth and luminous, shifting colors as he walked, almost alive. Panels floated in midair, displaying symbols he couldn't comprehend. A faint hum resonated through the floor, a vibration that seemed to sync with his heartbeat. Kalara guided him, her hands never stopping their intricate motions over her own controls. "You have adapted quickly," she said. "Most humans would panic in this situation, yet you maintain composure." Ryland shrugged, trying to hide his nervousness. "Space doesn't wait for panic. You survive or you don't. I've learned that a hard way." She studied him for a long moment. "And that, Captain Ryland, is why I need you. Your people survive where others fail because of qualities I cannot replicate: intuition, adaptability, courage. You may not understand now, but soon you will see why humans are remarkable." He felt a mix of pride and unease. Humans were clever, yes, but he had never considered that aliens might view them as exceptional. He had always thought of them as unpredictable and sometimes reckless. Yet Kalara's words carried weight, and he realized that in this vast universe, humanity's strength might lie in its unpredictability. Hours passed as they traveled together. Kalara explained the basic path to the system where the rogue faction had been causing disruptions. She spoke of alien civilizations, complex codes of conduct, and the reliance on technology that her people had mastered. Her words were precise, almost clinical, but Ryland could sense the respect she had for human qualities beneath her calm demeanor. He began to understand her earlier warning. Trust would be essential. Kalara's request would not be easy. He would be asked to do something that challenged every skill, instinct, and moral fiber he had, and yet he couldn't deny a spark of curiosity. Whatever the mission was, it involved him, and he was alive only because of her help. During the journey, small challenges tested Ryland's abilities. Asteroid fragments drifted dangerously close, requiring precise maneuvering. Malfunctioning navigation sensors forced him to improvise solutions. Even simple tasks became exercises in adaptability, and Kalara watched silently, occasionally offering subtle guidance. With each success, Ryland felt a strange camaraderie forming. He didn't fully trust her, not yet, but he respected her skill and intelligence. Kalara, in turn, observed his resourcefulness, noting how humans could respond to situations with creativity and daring that even advanced alien minds struggled to match. By the time they approached the outskirts of the target system, Ryland felt both anticipation and dread. The rogue faction awaited, and his role in Kalara's plan remained undefined. Yet one thing was clear. He had already passed the first test simply by surviving the journey and following her guidance. Kalara turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light of the cockpit. "Captain Ryland, soon you will see why I asked for your help. What I cannot do alone, a human can accomplish. You may not believe it now, but your people are uniquely suited for this challenge." Ryland exhaled and nodded. "I don't fully understand, but I'll do what I can." Kalara's lips curved into a faint smile. "That is all I ask. For now, rest. Soon, action will be required." As he leaned back in his seat, Rylan looked out at the endless stars, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. He was stranded, rescued by an alien, and about to embark on a mission that could change the fate of a star system. And yet, somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of hope. Perhaps humanity was not as insignificant as he had once believed. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to feel a sense of possibility. He was still a human among aliens, fragile yet unyielding. And in a universe that often underestimated humanity, that alone could be a weapon far more powerful than any laser or shield. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Rylan knew the journey had only just begun. Whatever Kalara asked of him, he would face it. Because humans survived when others failed, and he would prove that once more. The journey toward the rogue faction system was tense. Rylan sat at the helm of his repaired ship, now integrated with Kalara's alien systems. The hum of the engines was steady, a calming contrast to the chaos of the past days. Outside, stars streaked past as they jumped through faster than light travel, but Rylan knew the calm was temporary. He could feel it deep in his chest. A warning that what awaited them would test every skill he possessed. Kalara moved through the alien ship with fluid precision, her glowing eyes scanning multiple holographic displays at once. She spoke little, but when she did, her words carried weight. The rogue faction has been destabilizing this system for decades. Their leaders are ruthless and clever. Most aliens would approach with overwhelming force, but brute power is useless here. The outcome depends on precision, adaptability, and unexpected action. Rylan nodded, his mind already running through possibilities. He had faced pirates, smugglers, and raiders. But something about this mission felt different. He couldn't see the rogue leaders, didn't know their technology in detail, and yet he knew Kalara's trust in him implied something greater. Humans, she had said, had qualities she could not replicate. He was beginning to understand what that meant. Their first obstacle came sooner than expected. A patrol drone emerged from the shadow of a nearby asteroid, its design unlike anything Rylan had encountered. Sleek, black, with jagged edges and glowing red sensors, it moved almost like it was alive. Kalara's systems attempted to disable it, but the drone's shield was too advanced, resisting her energy pulses. Rylan leaned forward, studying its movement. He noticed a pattern in its scanning sequence, a rhythm to the way its sensors swept the space around it. If I time it right, I can slip past, he murmured, more to himself than to Kalara. She glanced at him, curious. Your solution? Rylan smiled faintly, adrenaline coursing through him. Trust me, I'll handle it. He maneuvered his ship carefully, using the asteroid's shadow as cover. The drone's sensors swept past, narrowly missing him several times. Rylan's heart pounded, but he kept steady, hands on the controls. With a sudden burst of speed and a risky maneuver around a spinning asteroid, he slipped past the patrol undetected. Kalara's eyes widened slightly. Impressive, she said simply. The success bolstered Rylan's confidence. He realized that human ingenuity often relied on risk-taking, an instinctual balance between danger and opportunity. Kalara, he could see, was fascinated by this quality. In her eyes, humans were unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability could be lethal when used correctly. As they approached the inner edge of the rogue system, Kalara finally began to explain more of her plan. The faction station is heavily fortified, she said. They anticipate conventional attacks, but a human's presence, unbound by rigid protocols, can exploit openings that others overlook. You will need to infiltrate the station. I will provide guidance, but your choices will determine success or failure. Rylan's stomach tightened. Infiltration was a dangerous task, even for humans, and this station was alien and fortified, but he also knew that hesitation could be fatal. He had survived by acting when others froze, and he would need to do it again. All right, he said, determination in his voice. Tell me everything I need to know. Kalara projected a holographic map of the station. It hovered between them, shimmering with information. The layout was complex, corridors twisting and looping in ways that made little sense to human architecture. Security nodes, patrol routes, and energy shields were marked in alien symbols, which Kalara translated into terms Rylan could understand. The station is divided into layers, she explained. Outer security is strong but predictable. Inner layers are adaptive and dangerous. Your entry point must be unconventional. That is where your strength lies. Rylan studied the map. He spotted a small maintenance hatch near the base of the station, rarely used and seemingly overlooked. That's our way in, he said. Kalara tilted her head, impressed. Exactly. You notice what others cannot. That is why humans succeed where others fail. The next few hours were a tense test of skill and nerves. Rylan navigated his ship through debris fields surrounding the station, evading automated defenses and recalculating trajectories when sensors detected anomalies. Kalara's systems offered guidance, but she allowed him the freedom to act. He realized that part of her respect for humans came from letting them make their own choices, even when mistakes were possible. Finally, they reached the maintenance hatch. Rylan docked carefully, matching the station's contours and locking his ship in place. He suited up, feeling the familiar weight of a human spacesuit that, while bulky compared to Kalara's adaptive attire, gave him confidence and protection. The airlock hissed, and he entered the station's dimly lit corridors. Immediately, he sensed the danger. The station was alive with activity. Patrolling guards, mechanical drones, and surveillance systems. Yet the corridors were oddly quiet, as if the station itself watched him with silent awareness. He crouched, moving along shadows, listening for patterns. His human senses, sight, sound, instinct, were his only tools. Kalara's voice came through his calm and steady. Do not rush. Observe first, then act. The station's design anticipates force. Subtlety and speed are your allies. Rylan nodded, though she could not see him. He crept past a patrol drone, timing its rotation perfectly, then slipped into a side corridor. His mind worked quickly, improvising tools from scraps he carried, small energy disruptors made from components of his damaged ship, makeshift locks he could bypass using ingenuity and intuition. Every step forward was a test, and every choice mattered. Hours passed inside the station. Hours passed inside the station. Rylan bypassed security panels, avoided patrols, and hacked minor systems to create distractions. Kalara monitored from her ship, offering advice but letting him lead. She noted how he adapted when things went wrong, how mistakes became opportunities, and how human intuition allowed him to see solutions that defied logic. At one point, he encountered a locked energy gate, blocking access to the station's central hub. Kalara attempted to override it remotely, but her commands were blocked by adaptive shielding. Rylan examined the panel, testing wires and energy flows, improvising a bypass with nothing but scraps and human ingenuity. With a spark and a hiss, the gate powered down just long enough for him to slip through. Kalara's glowing eyes widened. You see things differently than we do, she said. That is what makes you human. That is why I need you. The deeper he went, the more dangerous the station became. Security was relentless, and each corridor seemed to shift slightly, as if the station itself were alive. Rylan relied on instinct and memory, noting patterns, making split-second decisions, and trusting his gut when logic alone failed. He realized that this adaptability was what Kalara had admired. Humans could act without perfect information, improvising under pressure in ways her species could not. Eventually, he reached a chamber filled with glowing energy cores, pulsing in rhythm with the station's power flow. This, Kalara explained, was the heart of the rogue faction's operations, the central node controlling defenses, communications, and weapons. To succeed, he would need to disable it without triggering alarms. It was a task designed to fail, and yet Rylan felt a surge of determination. Humans thrived on challenges, especially when the odds seemed impossible. He studied the layout, noting weaknesses in the energy matrix. Using a combination of energy disruptors and mechanical improvisation, he created a controlled disruption in the core. Lights flickered, alarms began to hum faintly, but he moved with precision, stabilizing the system long enough to prevent catastrophic failure. Kalara watched, amazed by his ability to turn a desperate situation into victory through creativity and courage. When he finished, he stood in the chamber, exhausted but exhilarated. The rogue faction's station was compromised, and their operations temporarily halted. It was not complete victory, far from it, but it was a human victory, achieved through ingenuity, risk, and instinct. Kalara's voice came again, tinged with admiration. "You have done more than I could alone. Your actions prove what I have long suspected. Humans survive, adapt, and triumph where others falter. You are remarkable, Captain Rylan." Rylan smiled faintly, sweat dripping from his brow. "We're not invincible, but we do try, and sometimes trying is enough." Kalara nodded, a rare expression of respect in her glowing eyes. "Indeed. This is why I asked for your help. You see possibilities I could not, and you act when others hesitate. That is the strength of your kind." As they exited the station and returned to the alien ship, Rylan felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. He had navigated an alien fortress, relied on nothing but human skill and intuition, and survived. Kalara's respect was earned, and he understood now why she had chosen him. Humans, she believed, were capable of feats even advanced alien civilizations could not achieve. The stars stretched ahead once more, and Rylan realized that this mission was only the beginning. Challenges would grow, dangers would intensify, and his choices would become even more critical. But for the first time, he felt truly confident. Humans were not weak. Humans were not predictable. Humans were a force, capable of turning the tide in a universe that often underestimated them. And as the alien ship glided silently through the void, carrying them closer to the heart of the rogue system, Rylan knew that he and Kalara were ready for whatever awaited next. Together they were an unlikely team, bound by necessity, respect, and a shared belief in the power of human ingenuity. The deeper Rylan and Kalara moved into the rogue system, the more dangerous the environment became. The rogue faction's operations were not just disruptive, they were sophisticated, precise, and deadly. Space around the system was thick with traps, surveillance drones, and patrols designed to catch anyone approaching. Kalara's ship navigated with expert precision, but even she admitted that some of the defenses were beyond her usual control. It was here that Rylan realized why she had needed him in the first place. They approached the central command station, a massive structure that floated in orbit around a small, dying sun. Its walls were black and jagged, covered in weapon arrays and sensor grids that glowed a harsh red. Rylan felt a surge of adrenaline. He had faced danger before, but nothing quite like this. Every instinct screamed caution, yet every experience told him that hesitation would be fatal. Kylara's eyes glowed faintly as she monitored the approach. "The station adapts to every known threat," she said. "Direct attacks will fail. Only an unconventional approach will work." Rylan studied the layout through the holographic map Kalara provided. Patterns emerged in the orbital defenses, gaps where the sensors and weapons reset for brief intervals. These moments were fleeting, a matter of seconds, but they could provide the opportunity to slip past. He leaned forward, calculating, timing, and imagining maneuvers in ways that Kalara admitted were uniquely human. "But I can do it." Kalara tilted her head, studying him. "Risk is human.
Courage is human.
And adaptability, that is why I am here with you." Rylan piloted the ship closer, weaving through gaps in the orbital defenses. Red beams of energy flickered past, and automated turrets tracked them with deadly precision. Every second counted. He adjusted the trajectory, using subtle maneuvers to avoid sensors, and the ship slipped past the first layer of defenses. Kalara's systems projected predictive paths and potential outcomes, but she allowed him to make every critical decision. When they reached the station's docking point, they found it unexpectedly empty. Sensors showed a near absence of active crew. It was a trap. The central command station had detected their approach and rerouted personnel to other areas, leaving decoys behind. Kalara's systems tried to override the station's controls, but adaptive shielding blocked every attempt. Ryland's heart pounded. The usual alien methods would not work here. Kalara's confidence faltered slightly, a rare sign of uncertainty. But Ryland didn't hesitate. "We do this the human way," he said, voice firm. "We improvise, we adapt." He suited up and prepared to board the station manually. Using the docking clamps, he floated along the hull, scanning for weak points. The station's outer surface was reinforced, but not invincible. With a few calculated strikes and carefully timed maneuvers, he found an entry point, an old maintenance hatch, almost invisible to automated sensors. It took every ounce of his strength and focus to pry it open and slip inside. The corridors inside were dimly lit, humming with the energy of the station's operations. Red warning lights flashed intermittently, a warning that something was tracking him. Ryland moved cautiously, yet he had to move fast. The rogue faction was clever, and their traps were not just physical. They were psychological. Holographic illusions appeared, designed to disorient intruders, but Ryland's human mind adapted. He ignored distractions, focused on the patterns, and moved forward. Kalara monitored remotely, guiding him only when necessary. "They anticipate predictable behavior," she warned. "You must act unpredictably." That's the plan. As he moved deeper, he encountered a series of security drones, more advanced than any he had seen before. They moved in pairs, covering each other's blind spots, scanning with multiple sensors. Kalara's attempts to disable them failed. They adapted faster than her technology could overcome. Ryland had to rely entirely on improvisation. He analyzed their movement, noted patterns in their patrols, and created diversions using small energy pulses and reflective surfaces from his suit. One by one, he bypassed them, barely avoiding detection. Each success increased his confidence, but he knew a single mistake could be fatal. The central hub of the station finally came into view. It was a massive chamber filled with glowing energy conduits, control panels, and alien machinery. This was the core of the rogue faction's operations. Kalara had warned him that the final challenge would be nearly impossible. Direct access was blocked by adaptive energy barriers, and the station's AI actively monitored intruders, predicting movements and anticipating actions. Ryland paused, studying the environment. He realized that brute force would fail, and even Kalara's advanced technology could not overcome the adaptive defenses. He had to think differently. Using pieces of old wiring from his suit and components from a small drone he had disabled earlier, he began improvising a device to temporarily disrupt the energy fields. It was fragile, unstable, and dangerous, but it was the only chance. With careful adjustments, he activated the device. Sparks flew, and the energy barriers flickered, creating a brief window to access the core. He sprinted, moving through the gap before the barriers could reactivate. His suit alarm blared with warnings, but he ignored it, trusting his instincts. He reached the central console and began working on the control panel. Alien symbols and alien logic filled the interface, but Ryland's mind, honed by years of improvisation and problem-solving, adapted. Minutes stretched like hours as he manipulated the controls, rerouting energy, creating feedback loops, and exploiting weaknesses in the station's design. Kalara's voice guided him minimally, mostly offering observations. "Your approach, it is unlike anything we have seen," she said, awe evident in her tone. Finally, with a surge of effort, Ryland triggered the final override. The station system shuddered. Alarms blared, and energy conduits sparked wildly. Automated defenses shut down, drones deactivated, and communication systems went silent. He had done it. The rogue faction's station was neutralized, at least temporarily. Rylan slumped against the console, exhausted. Sweat ran down his face, and his muscles ached from tension. Kailara materialized near him, her eyes glowing brighter than ever.
"You have done what I could not," she said, voice filled with respect. "Your human intuition, creativity, and courage have turned the tide."
You are remarkable. Rylan smiled faintly, breathing heavily. It's not magic. It's just what humans do. We survive. We adapt. We figure things out when everything else seems impossible. Kailara nodded slowly, a rare smile crossing her features. That is why I sought you. Your species possesses qualities no other can replicate. Logic, power, and technology are not enough. Only unpredictability, courage, and ingenuity can achieve this. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. The hum of the station faded, replaced by the quiet acknowledgement of human triumph. Rylan realized that Kailara's admiration was genuine. She had sought him not because he was strong or skilled or even experienced, but because he was human. His ability to think differently, to act when others hesitated, and to embrace risk in ways aliens could not, had saved them. As they prepared to leave the station, a new realization hit Rylan. The rogue faction was defeated, but not destroyed. Their leaders would regroup, adapt, and return. Yet he felt no fear. Humans had survived countless wars, countless dangers, and countless impossible situations. And now, in this alien system, he had proven that human qualities could tip the scales in ways even advanced civilizations could not anticipate. Kailara's voice broke his thoughts. Captain Rylan, you are extraordinary. Not because of your strength or knowledge, but because of your humanity. You have proven that even the most advanced systems can be outmaneuvered by human instinct and ingenuity. Rylan nodded, feeling a surge of pride and relief. We're not perfect, but we do what we must, and we survive. That's enough sometimes. She studied him, her glowing eyes reflecting a rare warmth. It is more than enough. You are a reminder that humanity, though young and unpredictable, is a force to be reckoned with. As they left the rogue station behind, Rylan felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. The mission was far from over, but he now understood the value of his species in ways he had never imagined. Humans were underestimated, overlooked, and often dismissed, but their resilience, adaptability, and creativity could turn the tide in even the most dire situations. The stars stretched ahead, endless and indifferent, yet full of possibility. Rylan knew the final challenge awaited, and that even greater danger lurked ahead, but he was ready. He had faced impossible odds, outsmarted the rogue faction, and proven that humanity had a unique power, one that no alien technology could replicate. Kailara piloted her ship alongside him, her eyes glowing with quiet admiration. You are truly remarkable, Captain. I have never seen such courage and ingenuity. Rylan looked forward, hands steady on the controls. Thanks, Kailara, but the real work is still ahead.
We need to finish this. And with that, they accelerated toward the heart of the rogue system, ready to face whatever awaited them.
Together, human intuition and alien technology formed an unlikely but unstoppable team, proving that in a universe full of dangers, humanity had the power to survive, adapt, and triumph against all odds. Rylan's heart pounded as Kailara's ship glided closer to the central planet of the rogue system. From orbit, the planet looked small and insignificant, but sensors revealed sprawling industrial cities, energy grids, and military complexes sprawling across its surface. This was the heart of the rogue faction, their command center and the hub of their power. Everything depended on what happened next. Kaelara's eyes glowed faintly as she studied the readings. "They are aware of our presence," she said. "Their defenses are at full alert. Any direct approach would be suicidal." Rylan nodded, steadying himself. He had faced impossible odds before, but this was the most dangerous challenge yet. "Then we do it the human way," he said, voice firm. "We improvise. We adapt. We find what they can't see coming." Kaelara studied him for a moment, then nodded.
"Yes, that is why I chose you."
"Your unpredictability, your creativity, that is what will win this." They descended toward the planet, slipping through gaps in the orbital defenses. Automated turrets tracked their approach, energy beams slicing through space where they had been seconds before. Rylan maneuvered the ship expertly, relying on instincts honed through years of survival. Each decision mattered. Hesitation could mean destruction, yet each move was calculated, precise, yet unpredictable enough to evade even adaptive alien defenses. When they reached the planet's surface, the challenge became even greater. The rogue faction's cities were heavily defended, with patrol drones, energy shields, and automated soldiers monitoring every street. Kaelara attempted to disable some systems remotely, but the defenses adapted, blocking her every command. It was clear now why she had needed Rylan. Her advanced technology alone was insufficient. Rylan suited up, stepping out of the ship into the planet's thin atmosphere. Gravity was slightly stronger than Earth's, and the air had a metallic tang. But his human body adapted quickly. He crouched behind a wall of alien metal, observing the patrols. Unlike Kaelara's people, he could improvise, act without following rigid protocol, and make decisions on instinct. He was unpredictable, and that unpredictability was a weapon. Kaelara's voice came through his calm but tense. "You must reach the central energy core. Disable it, and the faction's power will collapse. But beware. They have anticipated intruders." Rylan nodded, scanning the environment. He noticed patterns in the patrols, blind spots in the security grid, and weak points in the energy field. Using makeshift tools from his ship and items scavenged from previous missions, he began creating distractions, small energy pulses, noise emitters, and reflective devices to confuse sensors. Step by step, he advanced. Hours passed as he moved through the industrial city. Each block brought new dangers: drones hovering silently above, automated turrets scanning systematically, and soldiers with advanced armor guarding key intersections. Yet Rylan adapted. When one plan failed, he improvised another. When a path was blocked, he found a hidden route. Every obstacle became an opportunity. Kaelara observed silently, impressed. "No alien I have trained could think like this," she said. "Your mind sees possibilities where logic sees none. That is humanity." Finally, Rylan reached the perimeter of the central core. It was surrounded by high-energy shields, pulsing with dangerous light. Drones patrolled in pairs, and automated weapons scanned constantly. The core's defenses were adaptive, shifting in response to every detected movement. Any alien attempting a direct attack would fail immediately. Rylan crouched, analyzing the system. He realized brute force would not work. Kaelara's energy manipulations failed against the adaptive shields, but he noticed a pattern in the energy fluctuations. A brief interval where the shields recalibrated. It lasted only a fraction of a second, but it was enough. Using tools improvised from his suit and components, scavenged from disabled drones, he crafted a small device that could exploit the timing of the shield recalibration. It was dangerous. A single misstep could trigger alarms and activate lethal countermeasures. But Rylan had faced impossible odds before. This was no different. When the moment came, he activated the device. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and the shield pulsed violently. For a split second, a narrow corridor of access appeared. Rylan sprinted through it, narrowly avoiding energy arcs and automated defenses. The device overloaded, smoking and sparking, but it had worked. He reached the core's control panel. Ryland's fingers moved quickly, adjusting energy flows, rerouting power and destabilizing the faction's systems. Alarms blared, guards scrambled, and drones moved erratically. But he continued, focusing on the task. Every decision relied on instinct, intuition, and improvisation. The very qualities Kaelara had praised. Kaelara's voice broke through the calm, her tone urgent. "Hurry, Captain! They are sending reinforcements." He analyzed the system's weaknesses, using creative solutions that no algorithm could predict. He rerouted energy to create a feedback loop, overloading the faction's communication network. At the same time, he destabilized power distribution to weapons and shields, rendering them ineffective. The rogue faction's defenses began collapsing. Suddenly, a squad of armored soldiers appeared. Ryland dodged, rolled, and used improvised tools to create temporary barriers. He leveraged shadows, reflections, and timing to slip past them. Kaelara attempted remote interference, but even her systems struggled against the adaptive defenses. It was human intuition, creativity, and fearlessness that carried them through. Finally, Ryland reached the central console. With careful adjustments, he initiated a chain reaction that destabilized the faction's operations across the planet. Energy grids failed, communication lines went silent, and drones deactivated. The faction's power was crumbling. He felt a surge of relief and triumph. But he knew the danger was not over. Escape was still critical. Kaelara appeared beside him through a holographic projection, her expression one of deep respect. "You have done what no alien could," she said softly. "Your actions have shifted the balance. Humanity has prevailed where technology alone would have failed." Ryland smiled, exhaustion and pride mingling. It's not about being stronger or smarter. It's about thinking differently, acting when others hesitate, and never giving up. That's what humans do. Kaelara nodded slowly. Indeed, your unpredictability, courage, and ingenuity have won this day. You are the embodiment of what makes humans remarkable. The collapsing energy grids caused chaos across the planet, but Ryland's knowledge of human improvisation allowed him to navigate the destruction. Turrets collapsed, drones fell, and soldiers scattered as their central command faltered. Every step Ryland took relied on quick thinking, courage, and the ability to act without complete information, a stark contrast to Kaelara's usual methods. When they reached the extraction point, Kaelara guided him to the ship. The engines hummed, ready to depart, but the rogue faction's remnants were not finished. A massive turret activated, targeting the ship with a beam of concentrated energy. Ryland acted instinctively, using the ship's maneuverability in ways Kaelara's calculations had not anticipated. He dodged, spun, and weaved, exploiting gaps in timing. The turret fired again, but the beam missed by mere inches. Kaelara's eyes glowed brighter, filled with awe. That was... "Human," she said. "Your actions are beyond prediction. You have no equal." Ryland grinned, heart pounding. "That's the point. You can't predict us. You can only adapt to us. Or get left behind." With a final surge, they escaped the planet's atmosphere. The rogue faction's operations collapsed entirely, their leaders stranded, powerless, and unable to recover quickly. Ryland and Kaelara watched from orbit as the once mighty faction fell into chaos, a testament to the strength of ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability, the essence of humanity. Kaelara turned to Ryland, her tone softer than ever. "Captain, you have shown me the power of your people. Humanity is more than survival. Humanity is brilliance in action, courage in the face of impossible odds, and the ability to triumph where others cannot. You are extraordinary, and your species even more so." Ryland felt a swell of pride. "We do what we must. We survive, we adapt, and we fight for what's right. That's enough to turn the impossible into reality." Kylara nodded, a rare warmth in her glowing eyes. It is more than enough. You have proven that humans are a force to be reckoned with, even in a universe of ancient and powerful civilizations. I will not forget this. As they left the system behind, Relan looked out at the stars. The danger had passed, but the universe was vast, filled with unknown threats and challenges. Yet he felt confident, knowing that humanity had qualities that could turn the tide in any situation. Kalara's respect, hard-earned and genuine, reinforced the truth he had long known. Humans were underestimated, yes, but when ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability combined, nothing could stand against them. Kalara piloted her ship alongside him, and for the first time she smiled openly. I will carry the lesson of this day with me always. Humans, you are remarkable. Rylan smiled back. And will keep proving it, one impossible mission at a time. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and the adventure was far from over. But Rylan knew that no matter what awaited, humanity had the strength, ingenuity, and courage to face it. And somewhere deep in the universe, a species once underestimated had just reminded everyone that human willpower was a force unlike any other.